This party, the Hippocrats, they are absolutely doomed. They're following the same exact playbook that handed them the gigantic L in 2024. And these ads write themselves. The way that this ridiculous Los Angeles upheaval was handled by the Democrats, by Newsom, by Bass, by the leadership, by Hakeem Nobody's Dream, it's absolutely mind numbing. The same exact thing. I have a clip here I want to share with you. Maxine Waters saying, "Don't believe your eyes, your ears, your common sense. Believe me." And then I've got Pelosi saying it was just a moment of exuberance. That's all it was. And I've got secret camera footage of her on camera admitting that January 6th was her responsibility. And then to wrap it all up, I'm going to end it on a high note with our guy from Louisiana. You know him. I know him. We both love him. Senator Kennedy absolutely destroying this entire debacle in less than 60 seconds. But first, here's Klingon Waters.
And even those who were out of step with what we are advocating, peaceful protest, did not create any violence. Nobody was shot. Nobody was killed. Get it in your head. And so when martial law is called, what are you going to say? I missed the point. Don't miss the point, you all. Don't think that somehow, because they called out the National Guard, there was violence. There was no violence. I was on the street. I know. And I went from downtown detention back out into the community, talking to people what happened in Paramount, what happened in Compton, what happened in Inglewood. So, first of all, get it straight. And don't just rely on what you're being told or the few incidents that you saw.
Out of touch, thy name is Maxine Klingon Waters. America, don't believe your eyes, your ears. Don't believe what you actually saw, the actual footage. Don't believe all the cars being destroyed, buildings being destroyed, the rocks being thrown at police officers, the violent fireworks, the attacks, the assaults, both verbal and physical, stopping the freeway. Don't believe all of that. Maxine says there were just a few incidents. I mean, where in the world? It's a big shock that their approval rating is the worst in the history of our country. They keep this up. I mean, 2026 is ours. These guys should never, ever get power, ever again. Check out Pelosi. This is her version, and then watch the secret footage that I'm going to share with you. Check this out.
And now they are deporting people for obeying the law. So, as others have said, it's a distraction. It's really stupid, because we understand that we are a nation of immigrants. We want people to have a facilitation of their status. We do not want any violent protest, and that would be addressed for those who are acting violently. I do want to say two more things. One is, and I say this as a former party chair, when there is a large gathering of people, the anarchists see it as an opportunity and they move in. So always have to be careful whether you see a burned car or a broken window or whatever it is. It may be the exuberance of the moment, but it may be the anarchist setting in. I heard one of the former police chiefs of Los Angeles speak about this on Sunday. Secondly, and you know this to be true, and I haven't seen it really reflected so much in the press, in a bipartisan way, on January 6th, with violence against the Constitution, against the Congress, and against the United States Capitol, we begged the President of the United States to send in the National Guard. He would not do it. Not only would he not do it, when law enforcement people were being harmed, some later died, he would not send it in when an instigation that an insurrection that he incited was causing damage to those assigned to protect the Capitol and the Constitution that day, to accept the results of the Electoral College. That day, he didn't do it. He forgave those people. Now his people want to raise money for them, and yet And yet, in a contra-constitutional way, he has sent the National Guard into California. Something is very wrong.
Washington vermin swamp, thy name is Nancy Pelosi. Why do they keep trotting out these fossils, the swamp relics from the past? This is exactly what the American people voted for, to get rid of people like you, Pelosi. Why don't you just sit down, shut up, have a Diet Coke, and thank God you're not in prison? I mean, you've got a masterful track record on the stock market. You've got an easy, comfortable life. Why are you doing this to yourself? You just look like a fool. Don't believe me? Watch this secret recording of Nancy Pelosi. Proof that she just lied in that clip. She admits January 6th, the National Guard was her responsibility.
We have responsibility, Terry. We did not have any accountability for what was going on there, and we should have. This is ridiculous. You're going to ask me in the middle of the thing when they've already breached the inaugural stuff should we call the Capitol Police? I mean, the National Guard? Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with?
They thought that they had sufficient resources.
That is not a question of how they had been. They don't know. They clearly didn't know, and I take responsibility for not having them just prepare for more.
There you have it. The words right out of the swamp vermin's mouth. I take responsibility. They only architect narratives that fit their aims. Gavin Newsom, Karen Bass are willing to sacrifice the hardworking, law-abiding, tax-paying citizens, including myself. I've lived in California since 1987. I know a lot of you guys might be thinking, Nez, why do you still live there? Because this is an amazing, beautiful state. My wife was born and raised here. My kids were born and raised here. I was born in Utah, but I've lived here since the 80s. I love this state, and it's worth fighting for. It is the 5th largest economy, but it's being decayed by this abysmal leadership. They're willing to risk your life and my life. Why? Because they are consumed with all-encompassing, all-consuming rage and hatred for one man, the guy we voted for, the guy who's trying to save America. Think about that. They just architect narratives. That should be literally their job title. Representative, take whatever you want. Swallows well, Waters, doesn't matter. Schiff. Their title should be architector of narratives that fit my own personal interests, period. And whenever you need a splash of common sense and you don't have President Trump around, I always like to go to our guy from Louisiana, Senator John Kennedy, who just wraps it up so succinctly and profoundly in a beautiful, simple way. Watch.
I don't think this situation is especially complicated. You don't need to be an astrophysicist to figure it out. We've got a wolf problem in Los Angeles. They're not peaceful protesters, they're wolves. They're hurting people. They're destroying property. So you say, well, where's the governor? Well, the governor is a sheep. He'll tell you, I'm a sheep. He's a sheep in sheep's clothing. He thinks cops are a bigger problem than criminals. So then you say, well, where's the mayor of Los Angeles? Maybe she can stop it. Well, she's a sheep too. More sheep is not going to solve the wolf problem. So the federal government sent in troops, and we're stopping the wolf problem. Last night was a better night, and tonight will be better still. It's not hard to figure out to me, and I think this is what I think most Americans are looking at this and going, stop the wolves. And a lot of them are thinking, nobody's talking about it, but who's going to pay for all this? Who's going to pay for all this destruction? Are we going to get the bill? That's the way I see it.
Yep. You and me, that's who's going to pay for it. The hardworking law. We're just following the law. We're just paying our taxes. All we want is to be able to live in a sensible, law and order society that we can take our kids out, feel safe, feel comfortable, feel like our money's going put to good use, feel like all our hard work is being, at least appreciated and rewarded. We just want, that's all we want. It's very simple and normal, common sense, right? And the Democrats seem to be fighting at every turn against that and architecting narratives that fit their own personal interests. California, I'm begging you, please wake up. Fathers and mothers of California, I'm begging you, please wake up. These people don't give a rat's ass about you. You may say, well, Trump doesn't either. I don't agree with that, but let's just say for the sake of argument that Trump doesn't care about you either. But at least Trump is about not having the big hand of government overshadow and control everything in your lives, including grabbing your wallet inside your pocket and taking all your money. At the very least, he believes in little government and as little government intervention as possible. At the very least, you have to appreciate that. That's the American way. That's how the forefathers and our founding fathers envisioned this glorious republic. I'm begging you, California, please wake up. Elections have consequences. Your vote has consequences. Do you want more of this insidiousness, or do you want common sense? The America that we grew up in. That's the mission of our channel, to make common sense go viral. And you can help me. If you love America, tap that thumbs up. Doesn't cost you a thing. It helps us out immeasurably. You can even do it with your remote. If you're watching this on TV, leave a comment, share this with somebody you know, because you're not going to see this on propaganda corporate press. Check out these videos coming up on the screen right here, just in case you missed them. Tap my face right there to subscribe and follow. It's free. And as always, may God bless you, and may God bless the USA and all who defend her. I'll see you soon.